Welcome to the Astronomer podcast. I'm your host, Edward Shelton, aka Dark Logos, and this is the show where we look at the strategies, tactics, and mechanics behind the game of heroclix. Alright, I am going to title this series that's going to go on right now, Set Redux. And pretty much the main reason I'm doing this is I'm going back through and looking at older sets and just saying like, all right, with everything that's changed with retirement, everything that's changed with the rules, everything that's sort of changed in our perspectives of what's valuable and what's not, what's unique and what's not, I'm just going back through and looking at like, hey, maybe that's worth something. So I do like this little thing that's going around Facebook right now. It's like tier 1, absolutely like the best, one of the top few figures in the meta right now. Tier 2 means it's decent, it's good. There are some, maybe some weaknesses here and there, but more than likely it can be a staple on a team. Tier 3, you're just having fun. So I think I saw it on like the Clickstall posted from some other channel. So I just saw that. I'm like, hey, I think that's a pretty good idea. If we go around and continue promoting that idea and keeping it up, I think it's going to be better for us to have a general understanding in a similar language when we're talking in between each other, and then more importantly, if someone's coming in and then we're using the language tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. Okay, because remember, in some situations, tier 1 is basic and tier 3 is advanced. But if we're establishing that, tier 3 is the bottom, then yeah, we're good to go. All right. Let's sort of begin. Now, today we're looking at Avengers, Black Panther, and the Illuminati. I know some of you may say, like, hey, Dark Logos, why didn't you start with Rebirth? Rebirth is sort of trash, except for the few things in Rebirth that are distinctly strong, and nothing stopped them from being strong. I hate saying it's the best stuff from Rebirth is still good, and I even more so hate to say it, is that the good stuff from Rebirth is trash now. Like Prime Black Adam. He is a good figure at 100. Unfortunately, the current game has made him trash. Now, will you ever see me playing him again? Probably for fun. Probably. Is he, the metas? No, he's not. Okay, so I wanted to start with something that I felt was at least competent. So let's get it cracking. All right, first off, we have Wakanda Scientist, and the main reason I'm bringing up Wakanda Scientist is a couple of things. First and foremost, she gives him power at 15 points. She's 3 clicks deep, and she requires an opponent pretty much to dedicate an attack to kill her. Her defense values are trash, so let's not even talk about that. But she does have sidestep to start maneuvering around, so that's something I want you to consider. For her cost, she's reasonable. She can fit on a scientist team. All right, let's go ahead and move on to Ant-Man. Now, I know some people are like, hold up, wait. Ant-Man, he should be like tier 7. But hear me out for a second. For 30 points at 5 clicks, I think that he is beyond reasonable. He's a 10 attack, 3 damage, and his special power is really important because he has... Here, if you hold on to this disc, free, choose an adjacent friendly standard character to gain tiny until your next turn. Now, this, I think, is very useful, definitely in the current environment if you're looking to, create a situation where there's additional line of fire, if you are trying to have a tiny flying character carry a standard character. There are multiple other things, giving a character +1 defense from range, so on and so forth. So I think that if we're looking at him, I think he's something worth reevaluating. Someone that we should say, maybe. Okay, I'm not saying like, oh, he's tier 1. I think he's a solid tier 2. All right, next up is Prime Black Widow at 30. Just being able to take away free adjacent characters. Choose an adjacent character in a standard defense power. Until your next turn, the chosen character can't use the chosen defense power. So there you go. I think that's really good. Also with team player added in there for a little bit of moi. Next up is Voyager. Voyager is there because she's a really great taxi for 50 points for Avengers. Plus her TK does not care about walls and blocking terrain. She can just TK characters and do cool stuff. So I have to say, like, for a TK alone, she's worth it. She has a very good carry, and with the reevaluation of Power Cosmic, I think she has the ability to be a lot more mobile than people previously assessed her to be. All right, following that is Io at 20, and my main idea is 20 points for leadership in Blaze Claw's Fangs to drop on top of someone. Are people going to prioritize Io? No. They're really not. I've played her multiple times. She will creep up on a person. As long as you have other additional threats, drop shipping and then having Io nearby, folks will completely forget about her. All right. Next up is Aim White. Why Aim White? Now, if she's on a theme team, and I mean if it's on a theme team, so this is an important point. Is look, getting outwit in perplex for a scientist team for 30 points in the current format is pretty strong. And scientist isn't a uncommon theme anymore, or a horrible team. Avengers is sort of not as hot and popping. Hydra and AIM, yeah, that's not really happening. But I'm just sort of pointing out, getting access to outwit in perplex is really good. And since everything is sort of a name theme team, then yeah, I think it works out a little bit better. Next up is Everett K Ross, +2 to all your stats but damage. For him potentially taking a click, that's worth it. Plus he has willpower, which is a lot better than what it used to be. Also, you have the ability to access and pump it up somebody's range in damage. So in the current format, Everett K Ross can increase your damage value +1, your range value +1, and your attack, your defense, or your range by an additional 2. That's a lot for 30 points. Like, just bar none, I think he offers the most amount of stat manipulation. Stat manipulation than any other character in the game right now. And definitely for his cost, he's ridiculously good. Now, here's your issue again. You have to take that power action to get that additional damage from the shield team ability. But you should be running leadership. Now, I can understand with the high action use economy that we have now that may not be as sexy as it used to be. But I do think it is still something for us to consider. Next up is Medusa, and I still think Medusa with the living hair bystander tokens is still worth using. It has a lot of utility. Nothing's really changed with that. I'm going to come in and present to you a tough sell, and this is, I would definitely say, it's tier 2, definitely not tier 1. It's mid tier 2. Okay, so it is Thor, ABPI Thor, with the time gem. Now, I know some people right there is like, hold up, wait, homie. Like, why? Why are we even looking at that? His range is mediocre. He has energy explosion. What's going on? So, first off, he has, again, pay the 5 points. He starts with the time gem. Then he has Legendary God of Thunder. Once per game, when Thor hits a single opposing character with a ranged attack, he may choose to make the damage penetrating. That is okay. First off, he has enhancement. Then when we start combining his energy explosion with the time gem, we come in, we look at the time gem, and it modifies our range +1. So it gives us from a 6 range to a 7, gives him probability control. And when this character attacks, if the attack roll is 10 or higher, opposing characters can't use effects to reroll attacks this turn. So that means if you roll a 10 or higher on your energy explosion, your opponents cannot prob out of it. If he crits hit, your opponents cannot prob out of it. So I think that is something that's worth looking at. Now, again, it's tier 2 in my perspective. You might say, yo, homie, this is trash. Stop smoking, the Jamaican Kush. But still, I think this is very, very solid think if we're reevaluating our current situation where there are a lot of swarms. And so being able to pepper out 6 damage, potentially in a turn due to energy explosion, I think that's a lot. And it's just your opponent, not being able to, get out of it if you roll a 10 or higher. So I think that's really important. All right, next up is Eitri, and I know in the current format, prime real estate is that sideboard. But if you don't have the 80 million trouble alerts and your pockets are running a little thin, but you do have some equipment, I do think Eitri is really good to utilize sideboard to sort of guarantee that you're going to start the game with some sort of equipment option. Yes, your opponent comes in and says, nah, homie, you're not getting that. But I also think sort of putting in options to make your opponent struggle to pick which, how the game is going to go down. I think that's really important. So definitely Eitri is still, I think, is good. All right, now I know this next one is going to be a little bit of a head scratcher, but I like Dr. Minerva, and I know some of you might be saying like, "Whoo! What is wrong? What is wrong with this picture here?" Okay, and here's why. By utilizing Dr. Minerva, you're able to give Kree at the beginning of the game for all characters with this trait. Choose a standard attack power that an opposing character can use. Friendly characters with the Kree keyword within 4 squares can use the chosen power. Okay, now, currently in Modern, there are several characters that have that would be really, really strong with her. And starting off, and this is a couple of key things. Number one is Captain Marvel. I think they're all Captain Marvels, realistically. So let's not front. But when we're looking at, let's just say, Captain Marvel from Captain America and the Avengers, being able to start off with super strength, being able to start off with precision strikes, psychic blast, being able to, start off and I was going to say pulse wave for a bit, but pulse wave ain't what it used to be. Having WWE powers, there's a lot of utility there for us to really assess and say like, because here's the thing, and I know with the WWE power thing, we may have to like reassess that and say, hey, does Dr. Minerva give us an exception because I can use powers that my opponent can have regardless of anything else? That's something that may have to be, put up. I also like Venom Captain Marvel. That's just my personal preference. I'm not going to go too deep into her right now, but she doesn't start off with any attack powers, and giving her some attack powers early on would be nice. Now, again, this does fall into that tier 2. Are you going to be super popping right now? No. In Golden Age, is it a little bit better? In Silver Age, is it better? Yes. But I still think it has some potential in your local games. Okay? It still has some great potential in your local games. Definitely, and I'm going to say this, when people are packing equipment that's giving them attack powers. In particular, if you see the Soul Gem going down, all your Kree now have still energy from jump. Like, that can be really scary. Or even just say precision strike. Because, folks, Precision Strike works with multiple targets again. It doesn't reduce you down to a single target. So, yeah, that's something for us all to sort of, be thinking about. Next up is Aim Blue, and again, it's that same thing. Being on a keyword, being on a theme team, whether it's Avengers or Scientist or whatever. And again, I think everything's getting treated as a name theme team. If not, then disregard what I'm saying. But having access to saying characters within 3 squares have enhancement in power, leadership, and support. You're able to use all of those abilities. I think that's pretty strong. Okay. Adjacent while using those powers. Not you don't get those powers, Aaron. But being able to say like, hey, you're adjacent. You're friendly. Oh, sorry. Let me sort of rewind here. All right, you have leadership. If Aim Blue is part of a named theme team, friendly characters with aim, keyword, consider other friendly characters within 3 squares and line of fire to be adjacent while using enhancement in power, leadership, or support. Okay. Still good, even though there's not that many aim characters. I do think that there is, what is it? I think he is on the list. Let me check. No, he's not. He's just Hydra. So never mind. Well, I'll just say, hey, mea culpa, my bad. I'll pass on Aim Blue Squad. He's still okay. He's tier 2 okay. All right, so I'm going to drop him from the list. All right, so Falcon. Yes, I did do research. I have the list here. You can tell how fast I'm moving, but I misread that. So let's go to Falcon. All right, and we're looking at the non-prime, and you might be asking like, hey, buddy, I wonder why is that? But first he says, he stole your thing in your bird. At the beginning of the game, generate a red Wing Bystander. Now, the Bystander is the same for both the prime and the non-prime. Dude, I have a healing factor. Stop. When this click is first revealed, Falcon gains immune until your next turn. That's fine. Regeneration is free, but only once per game. So you can heal him up, but unfortunately, he won't be able to heal up multiple times. Then he has mental link to Sam and Red Wing. Red Wing free. Choose a friendly character named Captain America, Falcon, or Red Wing, and a standard power that character can use. Now note it does say can use, so this is really important when you start mixing and matching with equipment that grants standard powers. Falcon can use the chosen power until your next turn. So that's something for you to think about. Getting access to charge or still energy, exploit weakness, those things can be really good for this Falcon. Now, is there a lot more that you can get with that? Yes. Now, I know some folks will say, but Dark Logos, why didn't you pick the Prime? Well, the Prime is a lot more expensive with a lower attack. And even though you're autonomous, that's not... It wasn't enough. But let's look at Red Wing real quick. Vampiric Bird, once per game when Red Wing would be KO'd. Instead, it isn't Protected Pulse Wave. So for those who remember Mudman, this sort of works like a ghetto Mudman, except he doesn't gain more tokens. Alright, so there's some durability right there. Always by your side. At the beginning of your turn, roll a d6, 4 through 6. Remove an action token from an adjacent character named Falcon or Captain America. Now, Red Wing in and of itself is quite useful when you're able to find a Captain America or a Falcon that you can pair it up with to be this sort of ghetto leadership or the secondary leadership. And in actuality, it's better than the ghetto leadership. It's a super leadership because it is a 4 through 6, not a 5 through 6. And I think that may be something that folks have overlooked with Red Wing and Red Wing's utility, and the fact that Falcon is not unique. You could play multiple Falcons, so then you would be able to generate 2 Red Wings to keep the the party going, so to speak. All right, so there's that. Next up on the list is Astronomer. I have to say, Astronomer is still going strong as useful. The ability to swap in any Infinity Gem that it needs is beyond ridiculous. Definitely considering its improved targeting. His improved targeting plus his range plus power cosmic as it stands. Like, Astronomer still beast mode. Now, is he top tier, tier 1? No. Is he like bottom tier, almost tier 2, bottom tier, tier 1? Yes. Yes, he is. There are other characters and combination of characters for 75 points that you can get. And then I have to be honest with you, the Molecule Man meta is a problem, and where you're not just guaranteed to get shots. He does not ignore characters inherently. And so being able to get through the Great Wall of Molecule is very important. And so when you're looking at Astronomer and him bringing, the rain from downtown, shooting them threes from half court, you really need to have a solution for barrier. You need to have you need to have a solution for blocking terrain. If you're able to have a solution for blocking terrain, which I think is mandatory for every team right now, I think Astronomer is a very good sniper for the current game. I know a lot of folks say, but the game is rushdown, Dark Logos. Well, you come rush down and get shot. Come rush down and get shot. You're right on top of me. I got CCE. I'll knock you out. And again, people forget Power Gem doesn't just give RCE, it gives CCE. You can punch a fool in the mouth. And again, getting that +1 damage, throwing down for 5. Throwing down 5 damage is nothing to slouch at with prob. So, treat you like Ali did Frazier, stand over you with Astronomer. So there we go. Let's keep it moving. Next up is Kang the Conqueror. Kang the Conqueror is a title character. Now I know some of you might say it's like, he who remains will remain on the board if you play him right. And I kid. But in all seriousness, there's a couple of things with Kang in the current format which make him a lot more useful, a lot more powerful than he was before. Now, the first thing that I will say is, yes, if he dies, it does suck with the amount of tokens that can be removed. Yeah, I get you. But let's look at the first thing. You are watching history being made. Free. Generate a time portal marker in a square within range and line of fire. He has a 7 range. You can increase his range, because remember, we got a ton of stuff that can still increase range, people. So at max, he's going to be putting stuff out. He can put a portal out 10 range. Okay, why is this important? Okay, if he is able to put a portal out in range and you're able to get his range up, okay, he can just teleport and be like, bamf, I'm downfield now. Now I'm going to triple target your retail and get rid of all of them. Oh, you rushed down? That was your fault. That was your fault. I mean, you sort of knew it was going to come on turn 2. You knew I was going to come in and go after your retail. I was going to get the range because I had the running shot plus the +1 or 2 on range due to a perplex or whatever else. Yeah, that's going to happen. So there's that. Number two, he has a you can. It's sort of like Krakoa portals, and does it suck to deal with Molecule Man? Yes, but for my opponent to dedicate his reroll, I mean not his reroll, his marker roll, to a molecule to this from Molecule Man to these tokens is going to take away from some of the things that Molecule Man might want to do. Not all, but some. Okay, so I will point that out. Next up, he has free place Kang the Conqueror in an unoccupied square within range that has a time portal marker, and then heal him one click. Now, he can run a shot to get into that range, shoot, and then be like, bam, from over here, geez. Sort of like in Loki, which is cool. So I do like that. Okay. Then he has Kang Wars. And I think this is the key part where I feel if you're able to keep Kang alive, this can help you like sweep mid game. X is the number up. Sorry, X is any number up to the number of unoccupied time portals on the map. Free. Place Kang the Conqueror in an unoccupied square with a time portal marker. Then give him a close or range action at no cost. After resolutions, remove that marker. Kang the Conqueror may be given this action, given this free action up to X times. So if you are able to get 5 time portal markers out and they are all viable to do something, then you're just like, all right, here we come. Like 5 shots on you, 4 shots on you, hell, even 3 shots on you, definitely in elevated terrain, can be huge. And again, the entire time you are triple targeting. So you can hedge bets. And even more importantly, if you're like, well, I got 2 portals out, I still have prob, I need to get rid of these colossal retails, I need to go for it on turn 3, and I know I can get to these colossal retails, or on turn, that is something. That is something. And now, I know some people say, Dark Logos, you're not going to last to turn 3 to get down there because the game's going to be over, because that's how heroclix is right now. Okay. I understand that mindset. And to be fair, and I want to say this, and to be fair, the successful players and great minds in the game are very aggressive right now. Very aggressive. And one thing that I will say personally is that I haven't tried to put much defensive tech out there, and this is the struggle that I've had putting ideas floating out there, is because my audience comes second to my team. And if I don't want to put out ideas, a lot of ideas that hinder my team. Now, you might say, like, there's people on your team smarter than you. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. But here's one thing. It's one thing for me to say, barrier is pretty strong right now, and you can play quad and quad barrier for cheap, and Molecule Man is still going to have to struggle to go through the Great Wall of Marvellas, or the Great Wall of Molecule Man and Marvellas, or the Great Wall of John Stewart's, or whoever else, however else you want to do it. Okay? I can say that because, again, not all teams have Molecule Man. And when you don't, Okay, and you run the Jean Grey bomb. Well, what if you can't get to me to blow anything up? What if I one map and I clogged the lane so bad due to the map, you really can't come in to do a Jean Grey bomb on me? What do you do? Now, what happens when you've already committed your swap for the Jean Grey bomb? Okay, so I'm not throwing a whole bunch of tech out there, but in terms of being able to place, in terms of being able to get around, in terms of utilizing elevation and thinking three dimensionals. I know that's sort of hard saying that in heroclix when it feels like we have a 2D map, but thinking three dimensionally and saying, hey, I'm going to utilize elevation to do this, this, and this. I'm going to place my terrains here, here, and here for these purposes. I think there's a lot there. I think there is a legitimate, a lot to be said with Kang. Okay? So let's go to the next one, which is Red Skull. I like Red Skull, Blue Cube. There is a point for Red Skull. What is that? Orange Cube, whatever the other cube is. Red Cube. But Blue Cube is still the best. Blue Cube is still the best. And I'm going to put Red Skull solidly at tier 2. And the main reason I'm going to put Red Skull at tier 2 is you're going to get out action. Definitely in the current world. And it's real easy for you to get tokened up. Like, real easy to get tokened up. And you don't have a lot of points to pack in the things that help you out the most. But here are some key things that I do like. Why Red Skull is still something where I say is like, hey, he can disrupt some games. Okay, so first off, we're starting with the cube. We're starting with the cube, people, and realistically, I'm saying we're going to start with the blue cube, and here's why. So we go to Cosmic Cube, right? And it's the blue cube. It says, free, choose one, place this character up to 3 squares away. So I can just boop. Or until your next turn, improve targeting, elevated hindering, and modify range by +2. So this fundamentally makes me like a mini, and I do say mini, astronomer. Okay, with my targeting. Or give an adjacent token, give an action token to an adjacent opposing character. If you can't, deal them 1 penetrating damage. Okay, so that right there sort of says like, hey, Wonder Woman, did you double token to try to put 2 tokens on me? Fine. I didn't roll my cosmic. I can bamf away. Or I survive. I'm gonna give you 1 pin. I'm gonna give you 1 pin. Are you going to still try to do shenanigans on me? I'm either going to bamf away or I'm going to, give you a pin. So there is that. So that's why I say, like, inherently we want to look at blue cube. Now, if we're looking at yellow cube, it's yellow cube. An opponent chooses a speed, attack, defense, or damage, and then you choose a standard power that isn't one of the chosen type until your next turn, as long as Cosmic Cube is equipped. Modify modify the combat value of that type chosen by your opponent by +1. So they pick the stat that's going to get a +1. And this character can use that power you choose. At the end of the turn, roll a d6 this character. Roll d6 if this character doesn't have Cosmic keyword. 1 through 2 unequipped. And when we look at Red Skull, he does not have Cosmic keyword, which is why he could drop it. So I don't like that. Now, does that help if he's trying to keep his stats popping fresh and super high and picking the best of the best powers, the tippity top of powers, yeah, that can be really cool. Definitely later on when you're like, I need some regen. Screw this, I'm getting some regen. Or I'm getting +1. You're either going to give me +1 defense or regen. Now, however your strategies may go, there's a couple key things with Red Skull that I think are important and additional to the Cosmic Cube. One, free. Generate an artificial being bystander in a square adjacent to an opposing character. It should be that attacked Red Skull, since to an opposing character that should be that attacked Red Skull since your last turn. Now, this is important because, number one, it doesn't say dealt damage. Number two, for the people that are tired of dealing with the Scarab shenanigans, definitely like a low-level, Scarab in the back doing silliness, having the option to be like, you attacked me. I'm going to drop a very angry gremlin on your face. Deal with it. Oh, are you also next to a commissioner who also generated his rookie? I'm going to punch your commissioner. I know that you're just going to get rid of the rookie, but it's max 1 per game. So what are you going to do? So there are other things that become important with the artificial being. Just being able to drop the artificial being onto people, I think, is really important. The next thing that I think that is really good is, I know a lot of people like Heat of Hades, but I think it's mid-dial. It's too situational. Red Skull, the matchless master of mankind. Leadership, perplex. So I'm perplexing up my defense 9 times out of 10. When Red Skull uses leadership and succeeds, he may also remove an action token from an opposing character anywhere on the map. If he does, this turn Red Skull has mind control as free, but only to target the opposing character regardless of line of fire. Okay. So I think that's also important, that you just be like, look, I'm going to mind control stuff. Now, it doesn't say range. Oh, no, sorry. Yeah, it says regardless of range or line of fire. So just being able to take that token off of that one key piece that can get rid of the retaliator, that can get rid of the support piece, that can ding down the main damage attacker. I think all those things are valid. Okay. You can make yourself a 13 or a 12 attack depending on what click you're on early on. That is your key powers. Those are things that will allow you, to add a bunch of surprises to your opponent that they're not prepared for. Now, I know someone says, like, Dark Logos, you're going to get bursted down. Fine. Okay. But I still think there are valid things for us to consider. Solid tier 2. And last but not least, there is Captain America with the Infinity Gauntlet. Now, I know some folks be saying, like, again, what type of Jamaican ganja kush are you smoking? But Dark Logos, why? And it's real simple. His main attack power says something that I thought was really interesting, because at first I thought, like, man, he got nerfed to trash, but it's actuality something he didn't get nerfed at all. It says knockback. When Captain America knocks a character back, add 10 to the amount of knockback. So the game says you are knocked back 3 squares. This wording says add 10. Now, again, if I'm wrong, he got errated and it doesn't work like that, then yeah, he's trash. But hear me out. Being able, on a map like WWE Arena, to knock back a key figure 13 squares sends them all the way back to their starting area. Yeah, they don't take damage. That sucks. But being able to do that, I feel, is a lot of control. Okay, it's a lot of control. Even more so if you were able to quake. Okay, and I want you all to see that. To run up and quake and potentially knock back 3 characters to the starting area. Now, does this make great heroclix? Maybe, maybe not. But in terms of force manipulation and making it so that it's a better fight for you, if your opponent has one taxi or one primary distributor, it becomes really hard when I'm able to knock back support one, the main attacker and secondary attacker, and the only ones that are left up there is support, 3 and the transport. I can easily now kill the transport, kill the other support, or kill the 3rd tier attacker, and then be like, all right, you're going to have to waddle all the way back up here, and I am going to be throwing shots the entire time. I'm going to be bombarding you, like this is freaking D-Day. And I think that's something that we haven't just experimented with. Now I know some folks say, hey, but Dark Logos. See how I changed it up there? But Dark Logos, he does not have the charge. Then I'm like, yeah, he's going to need some TK buddy up there. He's going to need some, some love to maneuver. But I do think the fact that him being able to just say return to sender is a big deal. It's a real big deal. Definitely if you're able to get him quake. I don't know how you're going to do that. There's more creative people than me. Get this man some quake. All right. So that's my ABPI Redux. I know some of you are probably thinking like, this is not the content we wanted. And I also know some of you be like, oh, we got content, yeah. But I also felt like it's something different than what everybody else is doing, because I know it's Rise and Fall love right now, and I will be doing a Rise and Fall set review, but I also wanted to put this out there so that we can have a conversation. I'm going to do a couple more other, Reduxes. I'm going to go through some other sets. I'm not guaranteeing that I'm going to go through every set, y'all. I'm not guaranteeing I'm going to go through every set since the new rules came out and all this other jazz. But I do want us to start to have like a more responsible view of the game, of not just saying, oh, the new shinies, that's why of course the new shinies is everything. And I do think the new shinies is going to be real hot here in the next, month and a half, considering how long we've been fasting and praying to get Rise and Fall off the boat. But all that being said, once it happens, we have I think maybe one major tournament in which we're able to see how much has impacted everything. We're not dealing with the old, constant, bombardment of information. There's not a whole ton of online tournaments. I think people are sort of just tired of running them, or they're not profitable, or people are tired of the prize support. I don't know. There's just not a bunch of them. I'm no hate out to anyone. I think Bradcast, or sorry, not Bradcast. The Brad Show is still doing some, so check that brother out. So anyway, I want you all, like I said, just go through the old stuff, see what you see. Drop some comments and down below. What do you think of me doing this Redux format? I know I had a brother say, "Hey, why don't you break down meta teams?" And I probably should. And the main reason I don't anymore, and I know this is selfish, is well, not as I sort of do talk about it, but again, it goes back to that team thing where I don't want to by chance violate confidence. I don't want to by chance violate confidence. And one thing that I learned in seminary, learning to try to be, a pastor, was that confidence is important. It's probably the most important thing that you have as clergy. And in particular with leadership, confidence is another thing. It definitely the way the game is now, and I know there are folks saying it's like, we need more information. There shouldn't be secrets and all this other stuff that's out there in terms, publicly, like, hey, Dark Logos, tell us everything that's going on. How dare there be, Illuminatis and stuff of heroclix. But there's always been secret huddles of tech builders. There's always been secret huddles of tech builders. Literally, if it was heroclix Illuminati, if it was Ohio players, if it was 4 Points with Isaac and Ed freaking playing on the kitchen table, Phoenix Nest, heck, even Uncanny Clicksman, they have their stuff. There's always going to be these huddles of secret texts and lores and tomes that no one's going to know about until after it comes out. But a lot of folks don't understand it's like the amount of work that some people put in to make those tech discoveries. It's like 40 to 50 hours to get something really strong. And that includes theory crafting plus play testing plus looking at reports and a bunch of other stuff. So I know some folks be like, again, so-and-so talks about stuff. I'm like, that's so-and-so. That's not me. So I'm going to be talking about stuff a lot less. And I know some people say, but Dark Logos, that's your claim to fame. You were breaking stuff down. Yeah, I understand. I understand. But again, confidence. It is hard to maintain, and when lost, it's even harder to get back. I'm living that right now. So, all right. So that's it for today's show. I'd like to thank you all for listening. You can email me at startingoverpodcast@gmail.com. That's startingoverpodcast@gmail.com. If you wish to opine, keep it piffy, keep it interesting, keep it awesome, baby. Let me know what you think of this format. And that's about it. And remember, we all have to start over sometime.